Today we're taking notes on Lesson 2.1. First, we need to define a few key terms, the first being congruent figures. Figures with the same size and same shape. The symbol for congruent is a little squiggly line with an equal sign underneath it. Corresponding angles just means matching angles. The symbol for a triangle or an angle is a triangle with two sides. Once in a while you'll see it with an arc in between those two lines. Corresponding sides just means matching sides. So if I wanted to talk about this side right here, AD, the way that I would write it is AD with a line on top of it. Next, the directions say the figures are congruent. Name the corresponding angles and corresponding sides. So, we're going to look at these two figures. We have figure A, B, C, D, and we have figure J, K, L, M. Alright, so first we're going to list the corresponding sides. So what I'm going to do, or corresponding angles, let's start with that. I'm going to write corresponding, and I'm just going to abbreviate it, angles. Alright, so the first angle I'm going to list is angle A, and the corresponding angle is angle J. So I'll write angle A and angle J. Next, I'll say angle B corresponds with angle K. So you see that they are the same size and the same shape for those two angles. Alright, we'll change our color, get another color here. Angle C corresponds with angle L. So angle C and angle L. Finally, the last angles that are corresponding are angle D, and I'm going to make 4 arcs, and angle M. So angle D and angle M. Those are your corresponding angles. Now for the corresponding sides, let's start to list them. So corresponding sides. Okay, so for the corresponding sides, I'm going to start with side CD, and I'm going to make a mark here. And then that will correspond with side LM. So now I'm going to write it over to the left. CD, side CD, and side LM. It's very important that you write the sides in the correct order when you're talking about corresponding sides. So if I start with C and I go to D, when I'm writing the corresponding side, I must start with L and go to M. Do not write CD corresponds with ML. You want to get in the habit of keeping the corresponding angle. If I start with the C and go to D, then I'm going to start with C's corresponding angle, which is L, and go to M. Alright, next corresponding side, we'll do DA corresponds with MJ. And I'll write it over here. DA and MJ. Alright. Next corresponding sides, we'll deal with AB corresponds with JK. AB and JK. And then finally, my last set of corresponding sides will be BC corresponds with KL. BC and KL. We are now going to find the corresponding sides and corresponding angles for number 2, these two pentagons. So I'm going to write corresponding angles, and we're going to have 5 pairs here because there's 5 angles in each figure. The first angle that I'm going to find the corresponding angle to is angle M. I chose that because to me that corresponding angle sticks out the most out of the 5 angles. Even though they're both pentagons, angle M on the left pentagon is on the bottom, but the corresponding angle on the right figure is actually on the top. So both of those I feel are pretty obvious that those are corresponding angles. So angle M and angle S. To figure out our next set of corresponding angles, I'm going to give you something that you can use many times. So a lot of times figures will be labeled alphabetically. So we have J, K, L, M, N. And over here our first letter I believe is P, Q, R, S, T. So if you notice P, Q, R, S, that is the fourth letter in the alphabet. J, K, L, M, M is the fourth letter as well. Therefore, I'm going to start with J now. So angle J will correspond with angle P. So angle J and angle P. Next, I'm just going to go clockwise on this figure. Angle K will correspond with angle Q. Okay, if you're having trouble seeing this, a nice clue that I'll give you is K. If you're going in a clockwise fashion, we know J and P are corresponding angles. So if we're going clockwise around these figures, K comes after J. Again, clockwise around these figures, Q comes after P. All right, next ones. Let's have angle L, trying to get 4 arcs on there, corresponds with angle R. So angle L and angle R. That last arc didn't take. We already have listed M and S, and finally our last set of corresponding angles will be angle N, 3, 4, 5 arcs, corresponds with angle T. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So angle N and angle T. Now I need to list my corresponding sides. Okay, for corresponding sides, I'm going to start with KL. So KL corresponds with, so I have chosen the side in between K and L. Over here, K is a corresponding angle with Q. So K goes to L, therefore the corresponding side is QR. So KL and QR. And I put a little tick mark there. All right, next corresponding side, I'm just going to go in a clockwise manner again. We have LM corresponds with RS. So LM and RS. To make sure you're right, you can look at your corresponding angles. L and R are both first, so those should be corresponding angles, and they are right here. M and S should be corresponding angles, and they are right here. So let's continue on. Let's go to corresponding side. Let's start with MN. MN corresponds with ST. So MN and ST. Our next corresponding sides, let's go with TP and NJ. So I said TP first, but I'm going to put NJ in this column here first because everything's been dealing with the pentagon to the left over here in this left side. So let's write NJ and TP. And if you need to figure out which one goes first, if I started with N, the corresponding angle is T. So NJ, TP. Finally, we have our last set of corresponding sides, which will be JK and PQ. All right, JK and PQ. Number 3 says, tell whether the two figures are congruent. Explain your reasoning. So when we look at the two triangles for number 3, we need to decide if they are congruent. Congruent figures mean they have the same shape and the same size. So they both are a triangular shape. Now for size-wise, we have to look. This side is 5, this side's 5, and this side's 6. When we look at the triangle to the right, again, we have two sides that are 5 and a third side that is 6. So the sides are the same. They are corresponding. This one corresponds with this side corresponds to here. 6 corresponds with this side, which is 6 as well. Now for the angles, we have this angle at top corresponds to this angle. This angle right here corresponds with this one, and this angle corresponds with this one. So we can conclude that yes, they are congruent because the sides and angles are all corresponding between the two triangles. Now if we look at the two rectangles here, we need to decide if they are corresponding figures. All of the angles that they show are 90 degrees. However, if you look at the sides, this side is 6 and 3. This rectangle has sides of 8 and 5. 6 is not corresponding to 8. 3 is not corresponding to 5. Therefore, we can conclude that no, they are not congruent because the side lengths are not corresponding. The last question says, the tops of the desks are identical. What is the side length of side NP? So I need to locate NP, which is right here. And I need to find the corresponding side on the other figure. And if I find that, NP corresponds with EF. EF is given a dimension of 3 feet. Therefore, since you told me that they are identical, I know that NP corresponds with EP and EF, and EF has a side length of 3 feet. Therefore, if they're corresponding, they have matching side lengths. The next question asks, side AB is congruent to side CD. So let's mark that. AB is congruent to side CD. All right, so these guys are congruent. What is the length of AB? All right, well, I know AB, and it is corresponding to JK, but JK does not give me a length. I also know that AB is congruent to CD. Well, when I look over here and find the corresponding side, I see that it is LM. So CD corresponds with LM, therefore they're matching. If LM has a side length of 6 feet, therefore CD has a side length of 6 feet. I also know that CD is congruent to AB, therefore AB has a length of 6 feet. That concludes your notes for section 2-1.